Having a team that's on your side and everyone moving in the same direction is extremely important. A team that's kind of engaged, bought in on the culture, that believes in you is extremely important. The way to do that is through servant leadership. Communication is extremely important. Leading by example. You need to make sure that your employees are connected.
Welcome to the Path to Wealth, the show about well-being, fulfillment, and financial freedom. I'm your host, Hannes Henty. Welcome back to the Path to Wealth. Today we have Dhruv Narilwala. He used to be a hospital CEO, but at the same time he has 15 years in real estate experience and eventually became financially free investing in multifamily real estate syndications, and he's going to talk about that today. Welcome to the show, Dhruv.
Thanks a lot, Hannes. I'm really excited to be here and pumped to share my journey.
Maybe you can give us a little bit of background on, where you came from. I know you came here with your family many years ago, and how you got started.
Sure. So I moved here to the US when I was 14. I actually grew up in India. Moved here with not a lot of resources. So I realized very quickly that I had to kind of work really hard to make things happen. And I think that has instilled a lot of work ethic in me that to this day has helps me with everything I do. And after I moved here, I started working full time, going to school full time. I got my MBA from University of Florida. Was hired on this executive track to become CEO of a hospital. And during that experience, I was basically assigned one department at a hospital and asked to turn that around, take it from X to 10X. And that's what I did for several of different departments in a hospital. And I think that really helped me with learning about business, about leadership, about customer satisfaction, patient satisfaction, how to how to lead a team. I actually had 250 people that worked for me and had about 12 direct reports under me. And that really, I think, helped me hone in my business skill that I still use to this day to grow my multifamily business.
So kind of leaning in what you said, talking about leadership, what are some of the things around team building that you look at as fundamental and crucial for success?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I do believe that without having a team, no one can really achieve anything. So having a team that's on your side and everyone kind of moving in the same direction is extremely important. A team that's kind of engaged, has bought in on the culture, that believes in you is extremely important. And I personally believe the way to do that is through servant leadership, is kind of making sure your team has all the resources they need to be successful. So having those daily or weekly touch points with them, check-ins with them is extremely important. Communication is extremely important. Leading by example is extremely important. Showing your team that you're here to help them, you care about them, especially in this employment market where employees are really hard to find, and it's the unemployment rate is so low. You need to make sure that I think that your employees are kind of like connected. I think the the package is extremely important, but also making sure that they are connected, that they feel that you care about them is important as well. That's how you have a low retention rate, and you're able to keep a lot of your employees rather than your competitor, snagging them away from you. So yeah, I think leadership and team building, doing things together, making sure you care for them, open communication, those are all important in making sure you have a great team.
In one of our previous conversations, you mentioned that you do a daily round, or you used to do a daily round in a hospital, and I think that's such a crucial piece, and maybe you can touch up on that a little bit, because I thought it's such a great way of gaining insights and building those relationships with everybody working for you and the hospital.
Absolutely. Yeah. So every day around when I entered the hospital, I would basically go to my office, make sure there are no emergencies happening. And if I'm good on that, I would basically try to go to every department and just quickly round that department, check in, do a quick check in with my team, with our team members, team leaders, even our patients. And that really, I think, helped me get a lot of buy-in from my team and even from my patients, because once I was done talking with them, or kind of like learning about what's going on the units, on the floors, I would kind of basically attend to their issues or jot them down, make sure I forward them to the department leader, and address the issues right then and there. And that really helped me with getting that buy-in. And sometimes I would just talk to them, getting to know them on a personal level, getting to know what's going on in their family, making sure their kids are okay. And that really helped. I believe it helped me with my initiatives and get that buy-in from the team, because they knew that I really cared about them, and any initiatives that I was coming up with any initiatives my executive team was coming up with, we all had this one purpose, this one goal, which was to make sure our hospital is the best in Houston. That's where the hospital was located, and our patients were getting the best patient care possible. So that with that goal in mind, we just any initiatives we were coming up with, we would make sure that those were kind of like surrounded by that goal, to make sure to in making sure we are making that happen. So yeah, I would actually do that on the weekends as well. Whenever I had a little bit of downtime, I would just show up, and not to kind of like to say, oh, I got you, you were kind of being lazy or not doing your work, but to kind of like support them, to make sure that they felt like there was an additional resources that was supposedly at the top, and still coming in on the weekend, and helping them achieve the goal of us becoming the best hospital possible. Yeah, I think that was extremely important. And to this day, I actually do that on my properties. I just show up and kind of like around the properties. I talk to the tenants. I talk to the staff, our property management team. If the tenants are unhappy, I want to know why they're unhappy. If there's something we can do to make it better for them. I think it's just a lot of times you cannot even do anything about the issue. Kind of circling back to those people and saying, "Hey, this is what I did to make it better for you, but I cannot achieve X. I was able to get Y. I was able to get very close to this whatever you wanted." And hopefully that solves their problem. So I think that again, listening, and just listening and trying to address their problem, and being there as a resource rather than just sending out emails and telling them, hey, this is what you need to do, this is what needs to happen by a target date. Yes, I still do that, but at the same time they know that I have an open office policy, open door policy, where they can come in and talk to me, address their issues, and if I'm able to help, I will make sure that I make it happen.
So it's really a relationship building first, and people know you, they can relate to you, and as you said, there is an open door if there's anything that they would like to voice their concern on.
Yes, without a team, even if I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I cannot achieve all the goals that I want to achieve. I think my team is the one making things happen. And I always say I'm nothing without a team. A good team that's engaged, and that's kind of like bought in to our goals. Team building and having that personal relationship is extremely important, because when there's an issue, they all will come and stand with you rather than standing against you, or even not really bought in and not really doing anything to help you achieve those your goals, or to resolve that issue. And trust me, in a hospital there are hundreds of issues. Just in multifamily, as we know, there are lots of issues that need to be addressed. If you have a team that's with you and on the same page as you are, that can make miracles happen.
And I feel like something that's as complex as a hospital, if you don't have the buy-in of your team and the support, it's very hard to turn anything around.
Absolutely. So I'll give you an example. When I first was brought into this hospital in Houston, it was just recovering from a hurricane, a huge hurricane that had basically flooded the floors, had damaged a lot of the units. So what I was walking into was a very low staff morale and a lot of damaged units. The food quality had taken a hit. Our patient revenue was not where it was supposed to be, based on our pro forma. My responsibility was basically to take each department and kind of like turn it around. It started with, for me, it started with patient care. I think if I focused and made sure our patients were getting the best care possible, and this, on the other equation, our staff members were happy, I think everything would start falling in line or where it was supposed to be. That's what I started with. I made sure we gave our patients the best care possible. Our patients, our staff was happy, our doctors were happy to practice there. And slowly, over 6 months to a year, everything slowly started falling back in place. Obviously, it was a very hard grind. We were in and day out. We were working to make sure that to turn this hospital around. When you again, it's that goal. I know we wanted to be the best hospital in Houston, and we wanted to have the best place to work at. So if I achieve those two things, everything will slowly started coming around, and that's what happened. We were able to do that. We had it was a very safe place. We had very low, I guess, incidents where, and the staff was very happy to be there.
Yeah, so how do you translate that experience into multifamily? Building teams obviously is a crucial piece to the puzzle in the multifamily space. Where did that originally, that money savviness come from? Is it something that you learned from your family, or what gave you the foresight that you have to own real estate or something else, another class of assets, in order to, live life on your terms?
Yeah, so got started pretty young. I think I was in undergrad when I got started in real estate. And I think if we go back to when I was 14, I realized that, I had to basically make sure that, I had, if I wanted something, I had to work really hard for it. And always wanted to own real estate because I noticed a lot of billionaires, multimillionaires, own a lot of real estate. I realized that I wanted that. I didn't realize the power of real estate until actually owning a piece of real estate. I just knew I wanted that, and when I was 21, around 21, I actually bought a rundown retail center, and it was not in a very good neighborhood. I'll tell you that. So what I did was I knew I was getting it at a really good basis. I underwrote the property, and even, I underwrote it very conservatively. And I knew that even if things don't work out perfectly, I would still be very profitable because I was getting at a really good basis. So I bought it from an older gentleman. He wanted to get out of it. It was a very rundown retail center. Basically, I walked into a bank CEO's office with a PowerPoint presentation and my Excel underwriting, and all my analysis, and kind of convinced him to loan me, I think it was close to $980,000. So that's how I got started. And over the years, while I was working, I I renovated that property and brought it back to kind of like I would say from a C class to almost a B property. That area, that location had already transitioned a little bit as well, and that helped me as well. So I was able to bring this property from a true C minus property to a B property, and really turn it around. That's when I realized the power of real estate, because I was getting a lot of passive income from the rents from all my tenants. As the property went from a C to a B, my rents obviously that I was getting increased significantly as well. And that's when I realized the true power of real estate. You can read a lot of books, you can go to a lot of conferences, but unless you do it firsthand or you experience the money coming in your bank account,
Yeah.
that's when you realize the true power of real estate. So, since then I've bought several retail centers while I was working a full-time job as a W-2 as a hospital CEO. I actually developed a few retail centers as well. Starting last year, I've actually transitioned full-time to multifamily. And to answer your question, I know it's a long answer, but I think teams are extremely important. Who you partner with is extremely important. For example, going back to my first deal, the CEO of a bank that believed in me, I that wasn't the only bank I went to. I partnered with that particular bank because I believed in that person and he believed in me. Having a team that believes in each other and their abilities, that is important as well. To this day, I think working with folks that believe in you and working with the folks that work really hard and make things happen, doesn't. I always say this. I'm like, whatever it takes, right? It doesn't matter what situation we are in. If we can solve the issues, by just saying whatever it's going to take, I'm willing to do that. If I have to work, 16, 18 hours a day to solve this issue, I'm going to do it. And I did that in my W-2 job, and I'm focusing on multifamily full time because of all these passive income that's coming in. I'm able to do that. And I want to teach this to the folks that, hey, you can have financial independence if you invest in the right properties, if you partner with the right people. I think that's the magic, right? You can get passive income every quarter or even monthly, every quarter, like clockwork. You keep getting that cash flow, and when that property sells, you get, due to capital asset appreciation, you are able to take advantage of this increase in your investment. There's just so many things that can help you in living a lifestyle you want. So yeah, that's my goal, to teach other people the power and the magic of real estate.
Which is great, which is also why I'm glad you are our guest today, because here this is a great place to start sharing, not only your journey, but, your insights and knowledge around real estate. And you've recently closed on a deal. Maybe you can give us a little bit of insights around what it took to get it closed. And, we are in a lending environment where things shifted. And I know you also had to wiggle things a little bit and shine some light on that for us.
So we closed on a deal in Ocala, Florida. It's one of the fastest growing markets in Florida. It was a 263 units property, a B plus in a A location. So when the issue with right now what's going on in the market is the capital markets are choppy. There's a lot of, I guess, fear on the buyer side to close properties. But I feel like, I personally believe that the fundamentals of multifamily are extremely strong. They are very strong. We are still getting double-digit rent growth. I think if you underwrite conservatively and make sure it's a very strong market, very strong location, I think there are still deals to be had. Actually, what we are seeing is we are seeing some discounts already from just 3 months ago, because the cost of capital has increased significantly. Cost of buying a cap interest rate cap is increased significantly. So we are starting to see some discounts in our in the purchase price already. But what it's going to take if you in this environment is an investor base that really believes in you, number one, that believes in your ability, having a lender that believes in your ability and believes in the deal, and just also making sure that your pro forma rents, there's a lot of cushion as far as when you underwrite conservatively what your rents are in your the property that you are looking to buy versus the market rents. There's a really good cushion. There's a good delta between the two. So there's a lot of wiggle room for you to kind of, I guess, if the cost of capital increases, you're still okay because of you underwrote conservatively and making sure that you can still increase those rents at a level that you want to. The last point I wanted to make is making sure that loan to value. I think we all just 3 months ago we were underwriting 20% down and 80%, and I think now just I think to be conservative. I think what lenders are looking for, and I think to also make sure that you're doing everything in a safe manner is doing 30 and a loan to value is doing 30 and 70.
What are some of the things beyond the delta you saw on the rent that attracted you to this particular property? You mentioned it's basically B class property in an A class location, and you saw quite some delta. Which other features about this particular property did make you feel great and where you're like, yeah, this is something that I want to bring to my investors?
We underwrite hundreds of properties, and we buy, we will only put an offer in on a few properties. So we are extremely selective on what we buy. I mean, there's obviously, good schools, good location, and all that. We look at all that. But I think for me is I'm always looking for things that how can I kill this deal? Like, is there something I can do to make, why the seller is selling this deal to me? Is there a negative? I'm always looking for that negative. If I can find something, I'm not going to, purchase that deal. So, I think for this deal, what really attracted me to this deal is from good schools, good location, and all, job growth and all that. I think it is located next to almost 1,600 hospital beds. And from my experience, I have seen a lot of hospital. Have looked at the EBITDA of the hospitals that I've worked in, and from my experience, I can tell you they are not going out of business anytime soon. Even if there is a downturn, because this apartment is surrounded by three major hospitals, full service hospitals. I think, and we did some research, and a lot of our tenants are actually, our residents are, they are hospital either attendings or
Yeah.
they are residents, nurses, doctors. So, they have a pretty stable job. So that really attracted us. It's surrounded by, I would say, if hundreds of healthcare clinics, other aside from the hospitals. So we had that going for us as well. We had a huge e-commerce industry right around this apartment. Amazon warehouses, FedEx warehouses, AutoZone warehouse, Dollar General warehouse. It's like surrounded by, and I would say in a 3-mile radius. So we had that going, and there's also 3 different colleges around it. The market itself is 97% occupied, and the market is, again, the market rates are way higher. There's almost a $300 delta compared to where we are at right now. So that again attracted us. So there were a lot of things going for this deal. When the capital market shifted a little bit or moved a little bit, we did not really. We just made sure that we did our sensitivity analysis. We made sure that we had looked at every risk there is to look at. and make sure we were safe, and we were very confident just because we had done our due diligence ahead of time. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what got us to the finish line.
So if you have 1,600 hospital beds, since you're from the industry, how many employees or workers does that translate to? Maybe just on a rough guess.
That's a good question. So I would say each hospital probably has between 300 to 500 employees.
Oh
I'm
wow.
talking about the techs. I'm talking about techs, nurses, doctors. There's so many people that are required to run a hospital. There's so much support staff that's required to run a hospital. So yeah, it does, and those are all high-paying jobs. Even the techs are making between $20-$30 an hour right now.
Yeah.
And obviously you've probably heard how much the nurses are making right now. It's probably $100 per hour. And that just, that's important, because even if we raise the rents a little bit, I think they do have that extra income to make sure that,
Supported.
yeah, support the rent growth. Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a good median income around the hospitals.
Yeah. That was one of the things we look at as well. Median income is very important, and the job, what kind of industries are there. I love the security, energy, innovation sector as well. The deal we bought in a few months ago in Houston had a very similar story. It's kind of funny. I guess I'm buying a lot of apartments near hospitals.
That's where you feel home.
Yeah, exactly, right. I know that these people are getting paid, doesn't matter what happens. So it was surrounded by hospitals, and it actually had the energy innovation sector around it as well. It was a Class A apartment, 264 units in the heart of Houston, 94% occupied. So yeah, that's where I feel like we are very comfortable, where we know that things are, even if the economy turns a little bit, we are going to be okay. I don't want to do anything that puts my investors at risk, because every deal I'm putting my own money. I'm probably my team and I, we are probably, my partners and I are probably one of the biggest investors in the deal. So,
Yeah.
I'm never going to, it's one of those, it's like a test for me, right? I'm never going to bring a deal that I won't ask my family to invest in. I think
Yeah.
that's, if you feel comfortable bringing this deal, whatever deal you have, if you feel comfortable bringing it to your family, then that's when I feel comfortable bringing it to my investors, because they are like my extended family, right? They
Yeah.
trust me with their capital, and if I don't truly believe in that deal, I'm not gonna bring it to them. That's why we underwrite hundreds of deals, and maybe put in an offer on a few, and will only purchase something that we truly believe in.
And at the end of the day, many of the investors, they are families, and we should always consider that when money gets deployed, because it's family savings, and it's somebody else's dream who is on the line
Yes.
when that money is on the line.
You made a really good point about this, because I see a lot of people raising money, X amount of money, millions of dollars, and we have done the same thing. I take that very seriously, because a dollar is a dollar, right? I came to this country with $0, and to this day, I feel like even if I take $1 from someone on a deal, I think that should translate to a really good return for them. And other than the tax benefits and all that stuff, they really need to see the benefits, because they trusted me with that money, and I want to make sure I never like take advantage of their trust and confidence in me. So, that is extremely important. The pressure doesn't matter. Even if I take $5 or 50,000 or millions of dollars, I feel like there's always a pressure on every deal on me to make sure that I perform, and not only meet their expectations, but to kind of like exceed their expectations. because it's a big deal, right? They were working hard, they are trusting me with their money, hard-earned savings. I need to make sure that I perform. So it's a lot of pressure. So when I see a lot of people raising a lot of money, I just hope that they feel the same pressure, and they take the same kind of, they take it seriously, and only bring deals that are really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen some people raising money for deals that I passed on, that I went deep on, and then I'm wondering. So maybe they saw something in the deal, or they knew something that I didn't know, which might be, or maybe they have um, more risk tolerance, and then the question is, are the investors aware of that? Like, are they really
Yeah.
aware of what they're raising the money for? And that's interesting sometimes. Do you feel like the pressure was higher working as a CEO of a hospital, returning to a larger hospital group in terms of, where your profits went, or is the pressure higher because you actually know your investors now?
I actually think the pressure is higher now, just because these are folks that I know on a one-on-one basis. A lot of, I would say, majority of my investors are doctors and business folks. They own their own businesses, entrepreneurs, tech executives. So they are millionaires. They're doing quite well in life. But I also have a lot of investors that are, you know, um, average income earners, and I've talked to these people, and I know them on a one-on-one basis. So I think the pressure is higher now, because I know the company that I was working for. It was a multi-billion-dollar company, and anything I do, I want to do it to the best of my ability. So I'm never going to put in. I'm not going to give. I'm always going to work hard, but I think the pressure is a lot more, because it's more personable now. It's like on a personal level. I know these folks, and they are trusting me with their capital, and I need to make sure that I perform. Obviously, when I worked for this, the Fortune 500 companies, they always have, there's like pro formas to meet as well. So I was working hard back then as well, but I think now it's more like I'm always looking to make sure that I don't make a mistake, or I'm doing the best I can, because as I said, I really care about these people, and they are almost like they're like an extended family for me now.
And I mean, if anything, you personally also have to go back and be like, hey, this happened. Like whatever it is,
Yes.
it's it's maybe as a CEO of a hospital, there's a different layer of reporting there, and obviously there are investors in those Fortune 500 companies too, but you don't have to sit at a table and tell them, oh, we took the loss because I missed this.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. I think that's why I make sure that we do everything possible and do our homework before we purchase a property. And obviously, real estate is there. If there's ever a situation like that, my goal is to be very transparent, and explain the situation to them, be very clear, and then also to break it down step by step on how I'm going to address that issue. Kind of like a
Yeah.
plan of action, right? Because we all are going to have problems. I mean, we are dealing with hundreds of units. We are dealing with, as you know, we are dealing with millions of dollars, and there's going to be issues. This is not an easy business is to be in, but as long as we explain to our capital partners, to our investors, to our lenders, to our tenants, hey, this is the problem we have, and this is how I'm going to fix it. And if this is a if A doesn't work, there's a B, that I'm going to look at, and then there's a C that I've also thought about. So you have different things that you can say that, okay, if this plan doesn't work, I'm ready for B, and if not, if that doesn't work, I'm going to do C. but hopefully A works, and it's going to be a home run. So, yeah, there's I think communication is definitely one of those important factors in that a lot of I feel like a lot of syndicators or a lot of deal sponsors kind of neglect. And I feel like I've seen that in you as well. I think you are, you how easy it is to communicate with you. I feel like you would, I'm sure you do a great job, and with your communications with your investors as well, and that's what makes it kind of easier process, because as I said, everyone is going to have problems. We all are going to be surrounded by problems, but how we solve them is the most important factor.
Yeah, how we address them, and how we communicate them, because things will come
Absolutely.
up eventually. Especially if
Yes.
if you run multiple deals, some deal will have an hiccup. Nothing goes as projected.
Yes, you're gonna have construction issues, you're gonna have tenant issues, there's gonna be a fire, there's gonna be, but at the same time, how you solve it and make sure you keep, that cash flow going to our investors, and get that capital, get the asset appreciation on sale. I think that's, as long as you keep those, make sure you focus on the business plan, and I think that everything just works out at the end.
So, talking about plans and projections, was it always your idea or your plan to kind of arrive in life where you are right now, and where are you looking to take it over the next couple of years?
So, my goal was to kind of just be in the W-2 and kind of have these investment properties on the side. That was my goal, and kind of like just go through the corporate ladder, because I was doing quite well in that. I was getting paid quite well, getting those bonuses really helped as well. But what I realized was, I think that one day I saved the company $1 million by just kind of like switching a process to something. And it was right, truly a like a bottom line savings of a $1 million, right? And something clicked on that day for me. When I did that, was, I thought, I'm doing quite well with my investment properties on the side. I'm seeing the results and the power of real estate. If I'm able to do this for my employer right now, save them millions of dollars, turn the each department around, turn the hospital around, why can't I do this for, let's say, if I go out on my own, buy these large multifamily assets, properties, and do this for my investors and myself and
Yeah.
my family, right? So that's when it clicked, right? And then I was like, okay, let me start doing more research into this. And so the goal was not, honestly, I was probably going to be a CEO of a hospital, and then probably keep going up the ladder, join the executive team and just grow slowly that way. And I was kind of like, being trained for that by my company as well. But something clicked that day, and I was like, if I can do this for and have results for my company and for my employer, I think I can work for myself and my investors and make sure create wealth for them, and kind of like truly
Yeah.
educate other people on the power of real estate, right? Like how it can kind of like give you this from the grind, the daily grind. You can still, like, a lot of my doctors, they are investors. They actually, they still go to work. They still love what they do. They are just, they just want to have this passive income on the side, so they don't have to take be on call on the weekends. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying just leave everyone to leave their jobs and just, but if you love what you do, continue doing that. It's just having that passive income coming in. You can do more things. You can take a vacation with your wife or with your kids, and without really thinking about when is the next paycheck going to come. That's what I want to do. Like, that gets me really excited. I want to show other people, like, hey, if you do this, you can actually achieve this. You can still keep your job, but you can, at the same time, you can have a little bit of I guess wiggle room to kind of like just have your weekends by yourself. You don't have to be on call, or you don't have to
Yeah.
work those overtime all the time. So yeah, that gets me really going, and that's what's really exciting.
Yeah, financial freedom in that sense is not about just sitting in a chair and start dying, it's just having the freedom to stop working if you want to. And as long as you love your job, and if you're a practicing doctor and you love it, just keep doing it, but there's no pressure doing it.
I think stress, as you know, is living a very stressful life is not good for your body, not good for your mind. I probably work more hours than I used to as a hospital CEO. As entrepreneurs, our minds, our brain is always just running, right, with different ideas, different things you can do. We can never switch off completely. So I'm probably working more, but I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
So and I'm not in a situation where it's like the daily, when is the next paycheck coming, and that stress of having that is very bad for your body and for your mind and for your family, everyone. If you own real estate, you'll slowly and you invest passive, you'll start seeing this income coming in, and I think that you know being stress free from that situation, I think that can work wonders.
There's something really powerful about the first couple checks that come in from real
Yes,
estate,
yes,
because
yes.
you know I remember when I was a teenager, and I made like my first money for it was like a job I took over the Christmas holidays, and
Uh-huh.
I earned my first money, and I got that, and I was like, wow, I just earned this. But it's the next bigger experience is when you get the first check return from your real estate investments, and you're like, huh, there's something to this here.
Proof of concept.
Yeah, proof of concept, and it's like, it's possible.
Yes, and, I've seen the kind of like the happiness, like so as I said, some of my investors are like W-2 workers, and making average income, and they when they get that first deposit, in their bank, they actually text me, yes, I received the first deposit. I'm like, it makes me so happy for them because it could be something that they could be saving for their kids' education. They could be, and at the same time, saving on taxes. It just does a lot of good things, and it makes me happy because a lot of people are like invested in the stock market, right? And it's like you are investing in something that you cannot really control. Yes, you can do your homework on the companies. I mean, I'm an MBA, right? I can read all the financial statements in the world. I'm very comfortable with something complex like that. But I feel like if you invest in hard assets, and if you know the person you're investing in with, I think that can make all the difference. Like my investor, they all have my cell phone number. They can call me,
Yeah.
hey Drew, what's going on? Can you tell me what's going on with this? My investors are like my extended family. I'll pick up the call and be like, hey, yeah, this is what it is. This is what, this is how we are solving this issue. Your next distribution should hit your bank this at this time. You have a real person, not, and you cannot really call a CEO of a Fortune 500 company that you have invested in and say, hey, what's going on with my stock? Why did it crash 30%? So yeah, I think that is important, right? You invest in hard assets. You can go look at the property. You can go look at visit the apartment. Hey, you can actually check out how it's looking from the inside. And if they want a tour, I'll give them a tour as well of what they invested in, right? So, I think that just speaks volumes.
Yeah, I agree. I think we all have a similar sentiment around that when it comes to real estate. For me, it was after having invested in a bit more tech, food related startups in New York City. Owning more real estate after that was a lot more tangible, and it just made sense.
Yeah, I still remember the conversation with you. I think a few months ago at a conference, and it was just this is amazing. I'm like, yeah, we think alike. So it was
Yeah.
that was awesome. It's always good to connect with like-minded folks, right? That are kind of like doing this similar things, and kind of like inspire each other to grow. I think that's important as well.
Do you think what you've done would have been possible if your family would have stayed in India? With the same kind of work ethic, the same dedication you had, do you think you could have done what you've done in the US in India?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't think so. I this United States of America is definitely a country of opportunity, and I love this country. I think if you are, I truly believe in this. If you're willing to work hard and kind of like do things the right way, and you need a little bit of luck as well, I think you will be given so much by this country. There are just so
Yeah.
many opportunities. I think my situation of coming here with nothing, it kind of instilled this work ethic in me that's kind of like a hustle mindset, almost like, just working really hard to make things happen, and kind of also respecting what I have right now, because it was only achieved through a lot of hard work. And I think this country has given me a lot, and I never want to forget that. Like, I think that that is important for me to kind of like remember my roots, where I came from. I think that's what makes me who I am. I don't know if I was in India, if I would be able to do the same thing. That's a known thing, but I know this country has definitely given me what I have, and I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah, it's. I think it still is for many ways. The country of opportunity where you can make things happen. That like just like I think what I'm doing in the US right now, I couldn't have done it in Germany
Hmm.
because it's just a different environment, and I actually appreciate how in the US you can think bigger or different, and people are actually more encouraging about it. There's less so of like the old way of doing things.
I think there's less politics. I think if people see that you're working hard and you're an honest person, a trustworthy person, I think they're willing to give you opportunities, right? I would not have been able to get into real estate if I wasn't able to, that hospital CEO, you know, giving me a loan for almost $1 million, right? And then giving me that opportunity. Obviously, I did have my homework. It wasn't like a fluke, complete fluke. I did my homework and all that stuff. But yeah, there's but there's not. Yeah, I think I do believe in that. I don't know about Germany, but some countries do have a lot of politics and red tape. I'm sure we have that in this country as well, but I think it's less of that, and there's more of the opportunity. Doesn't matter where you come from. I just think that there's so many opportunities right now to do a lot of things. I think if you're willing to work hard right now, there's so many things. It doesn't matter if you want to work from home, you can work from home. You can, there's just so much. If you're willing to work hard, you can achieve whatever you want, and that's what I believe in.
Yeah. So for somebody getting started, you already mentioned the work ethic you put forth and kind of doing the right thing. But what would you say are the most important traits for somebody who starts from nothing and wants to build his own financial freedom?
I think if you are young, if you're pretty young, I think the just put down on paper what you want, and then make it your goal. Kind of like make it your goal to achieve that goal. Basically, just focus, put your blinders on, and not really get distracted with all this social media, you know, anything like that. If you're a young guy, educate yourself. It doesn't have to be, getting an MBA, or going to university for your undergrad or anything like that. It doesn't have to be. Just make sure you get educated well in whatever field you want to get educated. So if let's say real estate, then you need to kind of know everything about real estate. right? That will take time. Read a lot of books, connect with people that are actually doing it, provide them, and this is, I think, extremely important, is provide them with some kind of value, on something that you can help them out with, solve an issue for them, solve a problem for them. And sometimes they will be, folks that are already doing it, they will actually take you under their wings. And because they will see that you're a winner, and winners want to be with winners, right? So people will take you under their wings if they see that, that you have educated yourself, you're providing a value. And if you're just getting started, I think just education, just keep on educating yourself, and kind of help be have a mindset of being open. I think making sure you are really good with your communications. I think a lot of our younger folks, they don't focus on that. But I think communications, if you want to be a leader, if you want to run a multi million or billion-dollar company, you need to make sure your communication is really good. So yeah, just providing value, getting educated, and just kind of like having that hard work, again, mentality, and focusing on the right things in life can get you to from here to here.
So it's all about focus. Where do we bundle our mental capacity on, and it can easily be distracted on all kinds of technology devices, or we can really put it to work.
Yeah, I'll give you an example on that. In my 20s, I didn't really, I had an I came up with, this is what I want to achieve. I just focused on that. So, if I was kind of like, if I was doing something that was taking me away from those goals, I would basically, shut it off, and because I know it wasn't getting me closer to where I want to go. I think to all the young folks, or even folks that want to achieve something or have a goal to in mind, just put it down on paper, or put a bunch of goals down on paper, and it, kind of just start running towards those goals. And if anything is taking you away from those goals, just shut it down and kind of like put your blinders on, and just avoid all the distractions that come in the way.
I think I just read a quote this morning, and it's about, what separates the good from the great. The great say a lot more no to things.
Yes.
You put on the blinders, as you said, and you go for it. And I think it's just true. Like, if you look at world-class athletes, they don't have time to do all of the other social events. They have to, let's say, someone like Michael Phelps or Michael Jordan. One is in the pool the whole morning while others are still sleeping, and the other one is already at the gym in the morning. And there's no time for distraction there. They're always in the game.
Yeah, they're putting in more hours on their craft than others, and it's simple as that. They are working harder to achieve what they want than their competitors.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're just focusing on it, like you said.
So one of my favorite questions that I like to ask at the end of every conversation is, what do you consider a life well lived?
I think having a fulfilling life, and that's not, and I'm not just talking about in terms of financials. I think also making sure that you are able to spend time with your family. If you have kids, with your kids. Obviously, when you are, busy, I think if you're running a big company, I think there is going to be a time. There are going to be times that you sacrifice a little bit of that. But I think, at least for me, I feel like, I want to make sure that I'm taking my company to the next level every day, but at the same time, I am giving time to my family. I think that is important as well. I don't think I have perfected that the whole equation yet, but I'm working on it. Right now, I know I spend a lot more time on my company and with my investors and on my deals than with my family. Hopefully, I can kind of bring a little bit of stability to that in the near future.
Yeah, I always feel like there is no perfect balance. There might be a split second of it, but then it tips again.
Absolutely, it's like there's a catching up. You're always catching up to the next between the two.
So, Dhruv, where can our listeners connect with you? Where can they find you and find out more about what you're doing in the space and, yeah, get in touch with you?
Sure. So we have a website, plutusinvestmentgroup.co. They can also reach me on my cell. They can text me or call me if they want to discuss multifamily. I get really excited about that. So, feel free to do that. My cell number is 352 8083. And if they want to email me, they can email me at Dhruv, which is D as a Denmark, HRUV at plutusinvestmentgroup.co.
Great. We will also make sure to put it in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time, Dhruv. This has been an exciting conversation, and I'm glad we got a chance to exchange also what you've been doing lately in the multifamily space, the latest deal you closed on, and yeah, just exploring your journey. So thank you so much for sharing all of that with us.
Thanks a lot for having me, Hannes. Looking forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at The Path to Wealth. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Check out our upcoming guests and be sure to share it with all your friends and family that want to take their life to the next level of wealth.